American education is broken, and public school education is on the way out. And I'm worried about it.
To me, systemic change is an approach to change that acknowledges the complexity of the way the world really works.
When we compare measures to the PISA test, that's an international test, how we are doing in comparison to other places, we're going down instead of going up. We're going up on our SAT, up on our IQ scores, down on the PISA. So what does that mean?
In high school in particular, I was an advanced student, and the last 2 years was a complete waste of my time. And it was a waste of my time because I'd already mastered getting A's. The students that I tutored, I was anticipating, learning disabilities or just quote unquote dumb kids, but they were the smartest kids. But what was clear to me is that there was a mismatch with what their intelligence and the motivation that they had in formal education, right?
They're performing and have to test, well, not in really solving problems well, or even fulfilling what they can fulfill as a human being.
The current educational system has become obsolete, just like the one-room schoolhouse became obsolete when our society changed from the agrarian age to the industrial age.
We no longer believe in time-based education. The reason we don't believe in it is because the world doesn't look like that anymore.
The current system, which is designed around this industrial age model of educating groups of children, moving them through the curriculum in a specific sequence, a fixed amount of content and a fixed amount of time, that system, although it was designed for an earlier time and it worked successfully in educating hordes, millions of immigrants, that system is perfectly designed to get the results it's getting. Perfectly designed. And no matter how much you tweak that system, no matter how much you play with its pieces, it won't change, because the design of that industrial age model is designed always to leave children behind.
So it's important when you're solving complex problems to look at them in a complex manner and not say this is a simple issue that we can just solve in this way. You need to understand the different components that are making up the problem and how to solve it. So systemic change is we are trying to address the problems by addressing the system and transforming it significantly.
If we want the whole to change, if we want the universe to change, if we want that world to change, we can't just change one piece. We have to change the whole thing.
So systemic change is really a process that looks at what are those dimensions that I need to be thinking about. And not just me, what are those dimensions that we need to be thinking about? Who else do I need to have me think with me, so that we can consider those dimensions and make a plan that's likely to work.
How do you view education? It has to be very different from what you experienced. And that's the only way we're really going to be able to change education, is really starting at that level, is sort of showing different possibilities of what education can be. And
now that we're evolving into the information age, we find that knowledge work is replacing manual labor as the predominant form of work. And this requires a very different kind of education for people. It requires much more attention to students becoming self-directed lifelong learners developing problem-solving skills, collaborative skills, initiative, many kinds of character traits that are much more important now, that were much less important during the industrial age.
If a child is getting his or her intellectual needs, learning needs, and interests and abilities considered and used to create learning opportunities for those children, how in the world can those kids ever be left behind? Answer that question for me. How can they be left behind? And that's the power and the promise of systemic change that aims to change the paradigm of instruction and teaching.